Right, heater core for a 98 Dakota 5.2 4x4. There's an excellent video out there. The guy did a V6 Sport, I think it was. So watch his video too, and I'll try not to overlap too much, but I'll go through some of the things that I went. One difference that I didn't do was I didn't take the dash out. I left it in there, but you still have to loosen it up pretty good to be able to get the box out. So, but it is doable not taking it out. So obviously you want to disconnect your negative battery terminal, take your air cleaner box out. There's a, I don't remember what was originally there. I put a nut and a bolt there to hold that in place. There's a, I believe, 10mm bolt right there. And then I just undo the screw here, pull this hose off, and take the box out. You will have to take the cruise control off. There's an electrical plug. Take those two bolts off and just set it off to the side. You have to disconnect your AC. So if your system's charged, you'll have to deal with getting it discharged. Mine didn't have much Freon left in it, so I let it vent. So anyways, you'll have to take the accumulator out. It's kind of a pain to get back in there and get those quick disconnects loose. You'll need a tool like this. You can get them at the auto parts store, just like for fuel line AC. You'll need a 5/8 and a 3/4, but it'll come in a set if you buy them. These guys right here, they just pull right off, nothing fancy, and then you can get your disconnect in there. Sometimes it's helpful with the disconnect if you push it up and then push the hose up and then pull down and it'll come out. So there's two lines. The top one is for the accumulator, the bottom one is for this Freon hose right here. What else? Oh, so for the bolts for the box that come through, there's one right there. I believe that's it right there. There's one right there that's holding that heater hose on that clamp. Hopefully you can see it. There's one behind the transmission fluid line. There's one on the accumulator bracket, and then there's one over here for this heater hose bracket, or hold on I should say. And then I think that's it. I think there's only those four. There might be one more if there is. I know there's one on the inside too. I'll show you where that is. I think that's about it for the inside. Of course, you gotta take off your heater hoses. I had to cut mine because they were stuck on there pretty good. And I just put new ones on. Alright, let's go inside then. You can take off this panel here that goes here. If you do, make sure you start down this side over here, because if you start over here you'll probably break this little tab here and have to glue them back on. I just used a fix-all adhesive. Where is that stuff? I used it a few times, so you might want to get some of this stuff. It's like goop, but it's at 99cent store, cheap, works good. Alright. Sorry for the, I should probably pause. Okay, so there's a 13mm here, as you see in the other videos. You don't have to take them out, just loosen them. I do have the premium stereo as well, so you just undo the two plugs and undo the ground. You don't have to take the power amp out. Your antenna wire is right behind the glove box right here. Just unplug him. There's your box. There's another bracket right here. I totally took him off. Easy to do once you have the dash loose. Obviously there's the 5 bolts that you can see up top here. Only the center one here goes into metal. These other ones go into like nylon, on my truck at least. Just make sure if you're going to use these to try to hold the dash up when you're putting things back together to screw that one down. I used the one far over there and I ended up breaking the nylon. Is there anything else on here? Oh, as you're taking this off, the blower motor resistor is right here, back here on the firewall. As you're pulling the dash out, you'll see it. You can unplug it then. The way I got away with not taking the dash out is you can hold the dash up on this bar right here. I used tie down cord for like you'd use for holding down things in your bed. Worked really well. I got the idea from a guy that posted a video on doing a evaporator on a ram. I think that's it on this side. Sorry for the pause there. I thought I actually hit pause. I forgot to mention on these maybe that it's just these hold-on clamps here. So get yourself some of these things. They're like panel removers. You can get them at Harbor Freight. I don't know. They're like $5 with the coupon. I think 20% off coupon. Right back over here. So it's the same thing on the side panels here. There's no screws on any of that stuff. So it's just held in by these, and you can see the little grips onto these things right here. Oh, this center here. So on the 4x4, hopefully I can hold this steady enough for you. Okay, you have to pull your transfer case down to 4 low. This guy comes out. There's 2 bolts there. Take them out. Then the rest of it's just friction held in. This guy comes out. You can take him out if you want. Then there's a metal bracket behind the carpet there. You'll see 2 bolts in the front. That holds the metal bracket to the dash. I would take them out, and then I would take the 1 bolt off over there and the 2 bolts off that hold the metal bracket to the frame, and just completely remove the metal bracket. That way you don't damage anything like your knob or your boot there when you're trying to pull the dash out. And I think that's it on the passenger side. Let me see if I can pause this. Alright, driver's side. So you got the same 13mm right here. Just loosen them. You don't have to take them out. Parking brake. Pull down the lid. Pull down this little white thing right there. It's like a hook on your cable. Just pull it out. This bracket here will have to come down. First you got to remove this cover. So there's the 3 screws right here. Undo those, and then here's the cover itself. It's got this pin and then these friction clips that go into the holes here. So you'll have to push it that way, like out towards the seat. I just tugged on it till it came loose, but it will kind of fight you. So I don't know if you could reach your hand in there and push on it or something. Maybe that'd help get it off. On this metal bracket, there's the 4 screws. You don't have to take this guy off. I loosened this guy because I didn't want to pull on that thin wire, and then I did unplug it. You unplug this too. Right here is your speedometer, not your speedometer, your transmission indicator. You screw that screw all the way in. That'll make this pretty loose. You can just twist that guy and get him off on the end here. And then this white plug will just pull off, and then you can let it hang out over there. And then there's 4 bolts that hold the steering wheel up. You do have to drop your steering wheel. So there's 4 bolts that hold it, and there's one there, and then 2 on the other side. You do need to drop your put your transmission in low, or first I should say. And then you can let you just let this bracket hang down, and then you can drop your steering wheel onto your driver's seat, and you're good to go there. On electrical, on the back panel right here, you have to take this guy off. He's got a screw on there. You just unscrew him, and there's 2 next to it. You got to unplug. And then I think, oh yeah, the next, to get it loose, you'll have to you undo your trim here, this trim all around here. Just use those trim tools like you can get at Harbor. It just pulls off. There's no screws, and there's 4 screws holding this guy down, 2 up top, 2 down below. What you need to do is disconnect the hard cable that runs from here to the blend door. It's easy to do. There's a little flag tab. You just pull it up, twist it to the side, and you can take the cable right off, and then you can screw this back down if you want. I think at that point the dash is pretty loose, right? Because you've undone those bolts. Now you can start to pull the dash away. There's 3 electrical plugs that plug in here. I think they're brown, blue, and white. Wait till you get everything else loose, then you can pull this guy out enough where you can get back there and do them. I didn't do that. I left somebody hooked up, and I was really, it was a pain in the butt. But when I put it back in, it was really easy. So that's, if I was to do it again, that's what I'd do. I'd wait till the last, and then you can just get at them from the side, and that would make life a lot easier. And then at that point, the dash is loose. Oh, you know, from the other video, of course, there's, you know, there's this tube here for the air, and then there's your vacuum line connection underneath there. And then I think you're done if you've undone your screws for your box. I waited till last and I took those out. And then the box, you can just slip the backs out on the passenger side and do your job. Here's my old heater core. I guess it didn't really look that bad when you look at it. It was leaking. I could smell coolant. I was losing some coolant. The box wasn't as nasty as I thought it would be though, but there was like gooped up coolant in there. There's the other side. When you put the box back together, I would recommend putting, of course, this in, and then screwing the screw that comes up from the bottom onto there, and then it makes it a little easier to get the one on the top. These are some of the part numbers for the that you might find when you're looking for a new core. I got the 94604. I ended up having to break some tabs in the box because I couldn't, it wasn't the stock size. You guys are saying that this one is the stock size, the 99341. I didn't see that at Rock Auto. I would have bought that one instead because I don't like breaking things if I don't have to. So, okay, some pictures I took. Here's a picture of the bracket on the center. There's the 2 bolts on the front that hold the metal bracket to the dash, and then there's the 1 bolt down here, and then there's the 2 over here that hold the metal bracket to the frame. Here's a picture when you're looking on the passenger side down onto the box. There's the one line where the air tube goes to the dash, and then here's your blend door connection from your cable, which of course you're just going to disconnect from the front. And okay, here's a top picture of the box after I got it out. Here's the passenger side over here. That's where the air comes in. There's the piece right there where you hook the air hose on. And then there's your vacuum connection over here. There's the heater core connections down here. Is there anything? There's a bunch of screws that you take off on the top. There's a few on the bottom. You don't have to take the screws off for the motor, the blower motor. You'll see them on the side. It's kind of obvious if you take your time. You can see which screws you got to undo. There is a bunch though. Let's see. There is one thing that's not a screw. It's one of those washers that's got like teeth on it that friction go down, so you have to work him up with a flat tip screwdriver and then pull them off with a pair of pliers. There's one thing, I believe it's on this side, yeah, because that's where the hard plastic, there's a hard plastic vacuum line that comes out where the heater hoses do too, and then it kind of comes around and it plugs onto the box over here. I don't have a picture of it. When you want to take the cover off, you're going to probably have to unplug that thing. When I did that, I broke it, and I was able to just take a drill bit and drill. I couldn't pull it out of the little connector, so I just took a drill bit just a little bit smaller than the diameter of the tube, and I just hand drilled it, and it popped right out. I only lost about maybe that much of the hose, and that didn't end up being a problem. You can just push the old one back through the hole. There's a picture from the front on the driver's side. Excuse me. That foam's pretty trashed. I didn't replace any of that. I just left it the way it was. Maybe that's where that connector is. No. Huh. Anyways, never mind. All right. You will have to take this off. This is the bottom vent for the when you have the air going down to the bottom. You have to take him off, and then the guy on the top too. That where you hook the hose onto. Here's a picture showing the blower motor screws. These ones, you don't have to take these ones off. They're on the side. Just think top and bottom, you'll be good. That connector I was talking about, here's that hard plastic one that comes down to this thing right here. So when I unplugged him, I broke it right on the connector. So like I say, you can just take a drill bit and just hand work it out, not a problem. And then you can push the new one in. I mean, you can push the old one back in through. So there's a little bit clearer picture of it right there. Alright, there's a picture of the blend door. You might want to consider getting a new one. Mine was pretty nasty. this is the side that was sitting down in the coolant. This is the bottom. So I did take it out and I washed it off in the sink. That was kind of a mistake because it took a long time to dry out. Luckily it's Southern California and the sun and the winds were blowing, so it dried out in a couple hours, but it did make it a little less nasty. And then I'm not sure if that's something you can get at the dealership or not. This stuff pulled loose, some of this foam here. I didn't put new, I just used that same adhesive and just glued it back down, and it seems fine. Blend door if you're interested. Here's a picture of the air box out, showing the line here for the your Freon line. There's your cruise control just sitting off to the side, and I think that's about it. So I'll show you some stuff on the air conditioning if you're going to do your air conditioning at the same time. Mine wasn't working, so I fixed it at the same time as well. Okay, now we've reached the air conditioning portion. I might touch a little bit more on the heater box too. You'll need a tool that looks like this to remove the low side Schrader valve. I would recommend doing it. When I took mine out, it actually broke. So you'll need something with some reach on it to get down in there. But it is just kind of a standard Schrader valve. Shout out to Life Cycles Bike Shop, Camarillo, for letting me drive over there and use your tool because I didn't have one and none of the bike shops had one, so I wanted to replace it. Picture of Rock Auto's page. So this is the one that I bought. I would not recommend getting that one. They did not have this 99341 at the time, or I would have bought that. Okay. Air conditioning. So mine stopped working, even though it was charged. So I didn't know what was wrong at the time. I just bought a kit that came with a compressor, an accumulator, PAG oil, and the Orifice Valve. So I went ahead and replaced all those while I had it apart. Compressor, I should have wrote down the model number. It seems like a good one. Accumulator, I would say if you've never replaced it, replace it for sure. It acts as a filter. That's this guy right here, right? You'll need to take your low pressure sensor off and put it on the new one. On your Freon line down here, let me get my pointer. Okay, your Freon line right here is where the orifice valve goes in. Looks like this. And the orientation is like this. So the long screen side goes in back like that. When you look inside, you'll see this. I couldn't get mine out with the air compressor. That's how most guys were saying how to get it out. Maybe mine wasn't clogged enough to do that. So I made a little tool out of a number 14 wire, ground wire. Just put a little bend on it and just reached it in there and twisted it into the end here, you know, on the screen side, and just pulled the thing right out. And when I pulled it out, of course, I lost the orientation. So luckily I could see where I damaged the screen right there, and that's how I knew how it went back in. Oh, this is a pretty cool tool for these ratcheting wrenches for getting the box out. 11 millimeters, which you'll need. You also need a regular old box end because that one won't fit in there unless you get their other wrench that has the box end that's thin, that's not curved like that. I don't know if that would have helped. For the cap and gasket set, there's the caps, there's the gasket. You can also get this socket for the high side service port. It's either a Master Cool 98234 or the at Napa, that's their part number for the same socket. Here's the cap set. It comes with 2 sets of caps for the high and the low. It comes with one high side valve, which I couldn't get off at the time because I was wrenching in the wrong spot. Oh yeah, let me show you that. So this is not where you wrench. Where you see these big nuts here, that's not where you do it. It's this guy right up here. So he's like a 15.5 millimeter 8-point. Maybe you could use a 5/8 8-point if you got one. I went ahead and bought this socket after the fact because he's leaking. So of course the one thing I didn't replace is leaking. So I'm gonna have to discharge the system, or I'm gonna have to deal with that again someday. Luckily I bought a vacuum pump and all that. It's pretty easy to do. Look for Eric the car guy. He's got a good video on how to recharge. Okay, back to this again. So it came with 3 Schrader valves for the low side. I just used one of them. I'm not sure what these other Schrader valves go to, and I have no idea. So And then there's the socket for the high side service port, so I can deal with that when that day comes. Here's your seal set. This is the Santec one. The other one would work too. It looks like the exact same kit. It comes with the 3/4 and the 5/8 O-rings. It comes with replacement springs for your quick disconnects, if you break them or lose them. And it also comes with the compressor gaskets. It's this big flat one right here. And you end up with more than you need. Those are my leftovers, so don't think you missed somebody just because you got leftovers. If you're in California and you buy the cans of Freon now, they got some sort of self-seal thing on them. So you're going to need to get this adapter. You can get it at Walmart or auto parts store. I bought the Freon at Walmart. So, and then you can use your good old adapter you used to use to recharge the system. That's UV dye. Good idea to put it in there. Very helpful. And then for the oil, mine just came with oil. As I poured some oil into the compressor, like pretty much half the bottle. It came with 8 ounces. That's what the system takes. And then you put 4 in the accumulator. I did not flush the system because my compressor, I believe, was okay. So if your compressor, bit it and shredded, you might want to consider flushing, or even, I don't know, some people are saying actually replace this stuff. I guess you could. This is old school. Maybe it's big enough where you can flush. There's the oil capacities if you want to know. So you can see the system holds 8.1, accumulator 4, and whatnot. Alright, here's a picture of the system with the air cleaner box out. Here's the line where the orifice tube is in, runs up along the side, then up over here. I was glad I took this picture because when I took this line out, I forgot the orientation. And then of course here's your cruise control sitting off to the side. I may have already shown this picture. That's the refrigerant I use. Worked just fine. There's no oil, no sealant in it. Shouldn't need it because you're going to replace all your O-rings and Schrader valves and high port valves, right? So things should go back together okay. There's refrigerant at Walmart. Shows that you need that. It's a DVA-1 adapter. And then you got to pay a $10 core on the can. You got 90 days to do it. So yeah. So much for storing Freon anymore, huh? There's the compressor I bought. I'd ignore the model number, just go by the part number here. Seems like a decent compressor. Tells you how much oil, what kind of oil it needs. And that was the oil that was in the kit, so that's what I used. You can also use that oil to lube up your O-rings when you put them back on. And you go to put things back together. I also put it on the Schrader valve on the low side.